Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zachary. So glad to be back here with you guys talking about some more NBA and some more basketball because we actually got some things to talk about yesterday. Yesterday's video, like I said, there wasn't as much going on in the NBA and it was one of those terrible days with Yusuf Nurkic getting hurt and then just lots of strangeness such as Bruno Caboclo going for 24 and 11. Yeah, a couple of days ago, yesterday's video, it was really strange, but today's is a bit more normal, you know? It was a more normal, average day in the NBA. But with that being said, let's just get into everything that we gotta talk about. And the first thing we gotta talk about is the battle of the MVPs, or the battle for the MVP between Giannis Antetokounmpo and James Harden. Now, these two players have been playing on a completely different level so far this season. James Harden averaging over 35 points per game. He has just about as many 50-point games by himself this season as the rest of the NBA combined. The man has been terrific, and as a result of that, the Houston Rockets have once again been a really good team. They're currently third in the Western Conference. However, on the other hand, you have Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, Giannis has led the Bucks to both the best record in the NBA as well as the Eastern Conference, and he's just been having a terrific season. So it's going to be very interesting to see who the media decides to give the MVP award nod to. In this game though, it was all Giannis and the Bucks as they were able to beat the Houston Rockets. James Harden in this game wasn't, the best. He didn't have the best game of his career. 9 of 26 from the field, 23 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. And he really couldn't get his shots to fall. Giannis, on the other hand, just did his typical thing with 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 assists. I will say that I believe personally the Bucks as a team are better than the Houston Rockets. They have more talent, they have more depth, but the Houston Rockets, they got that firepower. You got James Harden, you got Chris Paul, you got Clint Capella, you got Eric Gordon. They have a lot of firepower on the team. It'll be very interesting to see what happens between the MVP race. Another player who I think should be getting a little more recognition, at least when it comes to winning MVP, is Nikola Jokic. I mean, we talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo, we talk about James Harden for MVP, but I mean, come on, Nikola Jokic leading the Denver Nuggets to currently the second best record in the Western Conference, still right there with the Golden State Warriors, and this West has been as competitive as it has been in a very long time. Like, this is crazy. The Nikola Jokic is having such a great season, and yet everyone's still kind of sleeping on him for an MVP, and he's not going to win MVP. I understand that, but let's be real here. We have to give major props to the season that he's been having, leading this Denver Nuggets team to such a successful season. They got the win against my Detroit Pistons last night, 95-92, and even as a Pistons fan, even though I hated to see us lose this game, like, it broke my heart because we're still not guaranteed to make the playoffs. It was a good game, and I have nothing but respect for the Denver Nuggets and for my Pistons. We were getting absolutely trashed in this game, and then started to make a little bit of a comeback later on, but just couldn't finish it off. It's like the third game in 4 nights for the Pistons on a very tough Western Conference road trip, so I'm proud of my Pistons for just sticking in there and playing their best up in Denver, which is one of the hardest cities to play in the NBA. What do you know? The Orlando Magic are the A seed in the Eastern Conference. With under 10 games left in the season, the Orlando Magic are threatening to make the playoffs for the first time since they had Dwight Howard, as they beat the Miami Heat last night on the night where Chris Bosh had his jersey retired. Way to ruin the celebration, Orlando. Speaking of Chris Bosh though, this was a class act by the Miami Heat to finally retire his jersey. It's so sad to see how his career had to end so abruptly because of the blood clots that he was suffering. We all know that Chris Bosh has been working and trying to get back to with an NBA team for the past couple of years. He's always said that he wanted to come play, but teams aren't going to want to risk a guy having some type of medical experience out there in the basketball court, and that will just be tragic. So I'm in a way, I'm kind of glad that Bosh never did get to play again, just because it would have been absolutely devastating if something would have happened to him on the basketball court. But at the same time, it's still very unfortunate that his career had to end the way that it did. He was such a fantastic player, would have been an all-star for many more years to come, so it really does suck what happened to him. At the same time, it's great that he still got his jersey retired. The man's a champion, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, and that's all there is to say about Chris Bosh. As for the Magic though, this is actually their 6th win in a row. This team has been playing like they are on fire. Of course, they had just beaten the Philadelphia 76ers. They have blown out the Philadelphia 76ers. They beat the Heat, and now they are the A seed. You know what? Scratch the Milwaukee Bucks going to the NBA Finals. The Orlando Magic are about to shock the entire NBA by making the NBA Finals this year. I can't even say that seriously. We talked about Chris Bosh, we talked about the Miami Heat, so now we have to talk about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James said during this game that he wished he could have taken this game off to go to Miami and be there in celebration for Chris Bosh, but the NBA's been on his butt about taking games off recently, so he couldn't, which is unfortunate. I mean, NBA, Adam Silver, you guys should have let LeBron James just go see his friend have his jersey retired. This was a meaningless game for the Los Angeles Lakers. It doesn't matter if they won, it doesn't matter if they lost, so why not just let LeBron go? However, for the Lakers, I guess it's a good thing that LeBron wasn't able to go because of LeBron, they were able to get the win against the Washington Wizards. 124 to 126, LeBron with 23 points, 14 assists, and 7 rebounds. And also, if you need a visual representation of how this season went for the Los Angeles Lakers this year, then this is probably the perfect visualization of that.
14-13 lead here for the Wizards. 6.5 here. We're going. Man, was there a draft in the building?
Wow. Shot that 13 feet.
Folks,
it just came up a little bit short in everything. Speaking of the Lakers though, real quick, this has nothing to do with the game or anyone that even played in the game, but we do have a little bit of an update on Lonzo Ball. Remember, he just had a falling out with the Big Baller brand. He's no longer affiliated with the BBB. Because of that, he decided to get the BBB tattoo on his arm covered up. Man had the BBB changed into a pair of dice, which I think is actually pretty symbolic. It represents Lonzo Ball kind of rolling the dice on himself, betting on himself in a way, instead of, you know, relying on BBB, his father, and just the people that his father wanted him to associate with for business purposes. So I kind of do like the message that I think this tattoo might have. I haven't heard Lonzo say it himself, but just my perception of it, that's what I believe. I think it means, you know, Lonzo rolling the dice on himself. That's good. Yeah. Anyways, and speaking of LeBron James, Miami Heat, and the Lakers, though, we had to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, or the Boston Celtics beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 116 to 106 without Kyrie Irving, and it is such a great thing that the Boston Celtics won this game. Had the Celtics lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, not only would have meant the Cavs were right when they said that the East still runs through Cleveland until proven otherwise, but also, it's just because the Celtics mentally, they couldn't afford to lose this game. Like, if they would have lost this game, I think it would have broken their spirits completely. So this was kind of a must win for the Boston Celtics, so it's great that they went out there and got the win. So the Toronto Raptors just beat the Chicago Bulls. This should come as a surprise to absolutely no one. Matter of fact, the Toronto Raptors weren't even, they weren't even really trying in this game. Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet played the most minutes in this one, both with 26. Norman Powell actually having a really good game as well. However, every starter for the Toronto Raptors barely played at all. They all played around 20 minutes. So clearly Nick Nurse was just using this game to rest his players without actually resting his players. He didn't want to sit anyone out specifically, so instead he just about halved all the starters' minutes, and that's actually a really good idea. I really think the Sacramento Kings and the Dallas Mavericks are going to be one of the best rivalries in the Western Conference for quite a while. Every time these two teams play, it's a good game. You got De'Aaron Fox and Luka Doncic going head to head, and these head-to-head battles between them have always been phenomenal. Last night was no exception. Luka Doncic had a triple-double with 28 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists, while De'Aaron Fox did his typical thing with 23 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds. However, like I said, after the last two times these teams played, currently it is the Sacramento Kings who are the better team, and they proved it once again by coming away with the win. There's a little bit of a buzz surrounding Trae Young and Luka Doncic, as the media is trying to make it seem like it's up for debate as to who is going to win Rookie of the Year, since Trae Young has been playing outside of his mind for like the past 2 months, and last night was no exception. 33 points and 12 assists for Trae Young as the Atlanta Hawks get the win over the New Orleans Pelicans. And even though I do agree that both Trae Young and Luka Doncic have been having fantastic, spectacular rookie seasons, I don't think the Rookie of the Year debate is as close as the media might want to make you think. I can't see how you would pick Trae Young over Luka Doncic, even though Trae Young has been fantastic, has been phenomenal, been heck of a good player, and I can't say enough good things about him. But you look at what Luka Doncic has been doing all season long, and I don't see how you give the award to a guy who's just now starting to come into his own more. Trae Young did get off to a rocky start in his rookie season, while Luka Doncic just came out of the gates firing and has been great ever since day one. This is kind of like a Ben Simmons versus Donovan Mitchell type of thing, where we all know where the award's going to end up, but in the end, does it really matter? It's just Rookie of the Year. It's not even like the biggest award a player is going to win. If your highest award in the NBA is winning Rookie of the Year, and then after winning Rookie of the Year, you never go on to do anything else, you never go on to make all NBA teams, win a championship, win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, something, if you never win anything else, then that's pretty sad. So in the end, Rookie of the Year doesn't really matter. It's what you do for your entire career, not just during your first season. The Los Angeles Clippers, of course, were able to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 122-111. The Clippers continue to surprise. I always think this team just isn't going to make the playoffs. They always trade away their star player. They traded away Blake Griffin. I thought, you know what? This is the end. They're going to rebuild. They still started winning with Tobias Harris. They traded away Tobias Harris, and I'm like, all right, they're for sure now tanking. There's no way they're going to win, and yet they just keep winning. They're a well-coached, hard-playing team. That's just the end of that. You gotta love them. And lastly, the Charlotte Hornets are keeping their playoff hopes alive with this win over the San Antonio Spurs. Kemba Walker giving it his best with 38 points, 11 assists, and 9 rebounds. And for Kemba Walker, it kind of feels like he's playing to keep the hope alive that he'll eventually be able to do something with the Charlotte Hornets. He's been playing some really inspired basketball, trying to get this Hornets team into the playoffs. They're currently a game and a half outside of the AC in the Eastern Conference with about 8 games to play, so there still is time, but I still feel like these are Kemba Walker's last days with the Charlotte Hornets. And that is actually going to do it for everything that we gotta cover today. You guys know that I truly appreciate each and every single one of you for coming back to watch these videos. So, you know, I can't thank you enough for that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Here I go, thank you again. I really gotta, stop doing that. I gotta stop thanking you guys. You guys don't need to be thanked anymore. Anyways, like I was saying though, thank you for watching. Thank you again, but until next time, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!